Most believers who have faithfully tithed, prayed, and served for decades will still retire broke, not because God failed them, but because they never learned what Proverbs actually teaches about building wealth. That sentence might sting a little, I understand. And if you are somewhere between 40 and 60 years old right now, watching this with a quiet anxiety in your chest about retirement, about whether you have enough time, enough money, enough of anything, I want you to hear me. You are not here by accident. God did not bring you to this video to shame you. He brought you here because there is something in Proverbs you have been walking past for years. And today, we slow down and look at it together. I am Brother Elias, and I have spent years sitting with believers, good people, faithful people, who love God deeply but feel financially behind in ways that no Sunday sermon ever addressed. What I have found is not that these believers lacked faith. It is that they were never shown how faith and practical financial wisdom live in the same house. Scripture never separated those two things. We did. So here is what we are going to cover today. We are going to open 3 specific scriptures from Proverbs and the wider wisdom literature that speak directly to stewardship, God-given ability, and wise planning. We are going to talk honestly about what it means to be over 40 and financially behind in America right now. We are going to walk through the late starter advantage that God built into His economy. And we are going to end with something practical you can take with you today. What does it actually cost you to keep doing what you have always done? Not spiritually, financially. What does another decade of good intentions without a plan actually cost someone who is 45 right now? Now, let us get into the Word. The first scripture is Proverbs 27:23 through 24. In plain language, Solomon is saying this: know the condition of your flocks, look carefully at your herds, because riches are not permanent, and a crown does not last forever. The financial application for someone over 40 is this: awareness is the first act of stewardship. You cannot manage what you refuse to look at. That means sitting down this week with your actual numbers, your retirement account balance, your monthly expenses, your debt load, not to feel defeated, but because a shepherd who does not know the condition of his flock cannot protect it. Think of Linda, a 51-year-old school administrator in Georgia. She had been putting off looking at her 403B plan for 3 years because the numbers scared her. When she finally sat down with a financial planner at her church, she discovered she had more time than she thought and a clear path forward. Awareness unlocked action. The second scripture is Deuteronomy 8:18. And while this is not technically from Proverbs, it connects directly to the wisdom tradition. God says through Moses, "It is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." Not luck, not the stock market, not a younger person's timeline. God has placed inside of you a God-given capacity to create, manage, and grow resources. For someone over 40, this is more than a comfort verse. It is a divine declaration that your most productive financial years may still be ahead of you. Consider Marcus, a 47-year-old contractor in Texas who spent his 40s building other people's properties and almost nothing of his own. When he understood that his skill set itself was a wealth-building instrument given by God, he launched a small property maintenance business on weekends. Within 4 years, he had a side income stream covering 1/3 of his retirement contributions. The third scripture is Ecclesiastes 11:2, written by Solomon, part of the same wisdom canon as Proverbs. He says to invest in 7 ventures, Yes, even an 8, because you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. For believers over 40, this verse destroys the idea that you should put everything into one account and hope for the best. Diversification is not Wall Street language. It is ancient Hebrew wisdom. That means a 401k or 403b at work, a Roth IRA if you qualify, perhaps a small rental income or side business, and intentional giving that activates God's supernatural economy. Meet Cheryl, a 53-year-old nurse in Ohio who thought she had to choose between saving for herself and giving generously. When she understood Ecclesiastes 11:2, she built a simple 3-stream approach, and her total financial position shifted meaningfully within 18 months. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part God showed me that changed everything, and almost nobody is teaching it. Here is what most financial content for Christians skips entirely: the conversation about being a late starter, not in a motivational way, in a biblical, historically grounded way. Because the world's financial system is built on a 30-year compounding timeline that assumes you started at 25 with a 401k and never missed a beat. If you are 50 today and that did not happen, the world system tells you it is over. But God's economy has never worked on the world's timeline. Consider Paul. Before his encounter on the road to Damascus, Paul spent years moving in exactly the wrong financial and spiritual direction. His entire ministry, the letters that now form the backbone of Christian theology, the churches he planted across Asia Minor and Europe, the mentorship of Timothy and Titus, all of it happened after 40. Scholars place Paul's conversion and the beginning of his transformative work in his 30s and early 40s. His most enduring contributions came when the world would have said his best years were behind him. He carried decades of training, depth, and hard-won wisdom directly into his most fruitful season. If you are 45 or 52 or 58, you are not starting late in God's calendar. You are arriving precisely when your depth becomes your greatest asset. Do you see how different that is from what culture tells you? Because culture says your window has closed. God says your roots are finally deep enough to bear the fruit He always intended. God measures obedience, not age. Now, I want to address something directly, because I know some of you are thinking it. You might be wondering, I have prayed about my finances for years. I have tithed faithfully. I have asked God for breakthrough, and it has not come. Does that mean He is withholding from me? No. And here is why. Prayer without a corresponding plan is not faith. It is hope without a vessel. Proverbs 13:22 says a good person leaves an inheritance for their grandchildren. That inheritance requires both divine blessing and human action working together. God can multiply what you steward. He cannot multiply what you never start. The practical steps for someone over 40 right now are not mysterious. First, get honest about your numbers this week. Second, maximize whatever tax-advantaged account you have access to. And if you are over 50, the IRS allows catch-up contributions that can significantly accelerate your position. Third, look at your current skills and ask how they could generate a secondary income stream over the next 3 to 5 years. Fourth, protect what you are building by eliminating high-interest consumer debt as aggressively as possible. And fifth, stay generous. Generosity is not the enemy of retirement savings. It is the spiritual engine that keeps God's economy active in your life. Is it possible that the very financial pressure you have been carrying for years is actually positioned to produce the greatest testimony of your life? Is it possible that what looks like being behind is actually God setting the stage for something your children and grandchildren will talk about for generations? I genuinely believe that, not because of positive thinking, because of what Proverbs consistently teaches about the person who finally applies wisdom, even late, even after missteps, even after years of moving forward without a map. The fruit still comes, the inheritance is still possible, the legacy is still being written. Down in the description below this video, I have placed the Proverbs 13:22 Wealth Rebuild Workbook, completely free for you. It walks you through each of these principles in a practical step-by-step format, designed specifically for believers who are starting or rebuilding in their 40s and 50s. It is not a sales funnel. It is a tool. Take it, use it, share it with someone who needs it. If this video spoke to something real in you today, please like it so that it reaches more people who need to hear it. Share it with a friend or a spouse who is walking the same road. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is the one step you are committing to? This week, I read every comment. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this path together, because there is so much more we have not opened yet. You are not too late. You are exactly on time in the economy of a God who makes all things work together for good, including the years you thought were wasted. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.